I have a brand new account and we're going to see how fast I can beat the boss. The timer starts when I hit play and it'll end when we pop the tier 5 Dreadbloon. Because it's my first time booting up the game, we had to go through the tutorial. I front loaded the track with dart monkeys to pop the balloons as fast as possible, and I learned a little trick since last time. Once you put down Quincy, you can exit to home, leaving the tutorial early, so it only took us about a minute to complete. Next, we have to beat a beginner map on hard. This will give us a good amount of experience, as well as letting us play on harder maps in the future. So we booted up Cubism, hit play, and instantly turned hints off and auto start on. This will save us a ton of time going forward, as there are a surprising amount of hints that Bloons gives you when you're first starting out. Because we have almost no experience on our monkeys, I started off with Quincy in the center of the map. Not the fastest play, but he'll be able to beat the early rounds all on his own. After Quincy, we got down a dart monkey and a tack shooter to help out. Not only are they our only 2 unlocked monkeys at this point, but they will also be super important for future runs. The dart monkey will allow us to take on harder maps to earn more experience, and the tack shooters will upgrade into overdrives to help us speedrun maps as they tear mobs apart, and eventually we'll get a tack zone, which is essential to our Dreadbloon strategy. Knowing this, I spammed tack shooters. At first, I put them near Quincy to make sure we cleared the rounds, but it became apparent that we'd beat them no problem. So we started loading the front of the track with tack shooters and upgrading them as fast as possible, working towards 204 overdrives. Round 28 was coming up, which means our first lead balloon. The easiest and fastest way to deal with them was placing a bomb shooter up front and setting it to strong. This did pretty well, as only a few balloons will get past the start of the map, and we'd plenty of backup in the center to clean them up. The next challenge was camo balloons, but Quincy was a high enough level to see them, and we had enough experience on our dart monkey to upgrade it to a 002 to help out. After a few more upgrades to the tack shooters up front, I got down a sniper monkey. We will need a surprising amount of XP on this guy for Dreadbloon, as no farms were allowed this week, meaning we'll have to farm with snipers, boats, and heli pilots. So we might as well start getting XP on him early, especially since he makes for a great speedrunner. I was hoping we could pick up night vision goggles on him before Quincy needed help with camos, but there just wasn't enough time. So we plopped down some more 012 dart monkeys, and that did the trick. This brought us to round 40, where we had tons of money, but not much to spend it on, as I was waiting on experience to unlock some upgrades. Unfortunately, I should have spent this money upgrading the tack shooters in the middle of the track, as the mob got pretty far, wasting our precious time. Nevertheless, we popped it without leaking, which is always a good sign. At this time, we got enough XP to unlock overdrive and the crossbow. The first will let us power through the rounds quickly, and the second will give us the extra camo popping power that we need for the mid game. Now we just had to spam both of these to beat the rounds, and then it was time to get some boat XP for early game Dreadbloon farming. This brought us to round 59, where we got enough XP on our tack shooter to unlock our first tier 5 upgrade on this account, the tack zone. The timing could not have been better, as we needed some better upgrades if we were going to have a chance against round 63, and we got just enough money to buy it on round 62. Unfortunately, this heavy upgrade is going to take most of the XP going forward, as it's split by how much money you've spent on each tower, and we don't need any more tack shooter upgrades. So we need to spend the rest of our money on monkeys that we might use against Dreadbloon. The 2 that came to mind were the bomb shooter and the alchemist. The bomb shooter can do great damage to boss balloons if we make it all the way to an eliminator, and all 3 of the alchemist paths will be useful. The top path amplifies the damage of surrounding towers, as well as letting them pop lead balloons. The middle path's total transformation will give us tons of damage if used correctly, and the bottom path's lead to gold is incredible for farming, as extra lead balloons spawn when fighting Dreadbloon. So the current checklist for XP includes alchemists, snipers, boats, and if we have leftovers, we can farm bomb shooter experience. At the same time, we need to balance managing the XP split with speedrunning the map, and because we have a limited amount of upgrades unlocked at this point, we are forced to place some overdrives at the start of the track. My hope was that this increased speed will be worth giving a smaller percentage of the experience to other monkeys. Anyway, this brought us to round 80, where we popped our first ZOMG only 16 minutes and 41 seconds into the run, and with that, we unlocked the monkey village. On to the next map, which will be carts and darts, the easiest intermediate map in the game. The reason we want to jump into intermediate maps right now is because they provide 10% more tower experience than beginner ones. Once again, we booted up hard mode and hit play, placing Quincy in a very safe spot to ensure that we'd pop the entire round. Next, we got down a dart monkey and tack shooter at the start of the map to start speeding up this process. After a few upgrades, we were dealing with the rounds pretty quick, though a few balloons would sneak through from time to time, hurting our speedrun. To deal with this, we got a sniper and a few druids down, as they are both great for plowing through the rounds, and we still need a ton of XP on both of them. This brought us to round 38, where I upgraded all the druids to 102s so they could help pop the lead bloons right away, and we still had enough money to get an overdrive to pop their own 40 mob. Everything was going great, and we were able to pop it without leaking any balloons, though the innards did make it pretty far along the track. After that, we unlocked Bouncing Bullet and made our sniper a 230. Not the best crosspath, but it will help out a ton with camos and overall damage. Now, the only thing we were lacking was single target damage, so we got another sniper and upgraded it to a 203. These are great for the mid game, especially for damaging tanky bloons like blimps. I made sure to set it to strong so it'd take down any mob class bloons that the overdrive missed. Now to get some more bouncing bullets, but this time I made them 032s and buffed them with an alchemist. These have way more crowd control, which is exactly what we needed, as group ceramics are what's slowing us down the most. This carried us until the late 50s, where we upgraded the druids to Druids of Wrath and we unlocked the supply drop ability. I figured this would be an excellent way for us to farm, as this upgrade provides a jump in popping power that'll let us keep trucking through the rounds, as well as giving the sniper a larger percentage of the XP. And later in the run, we should have plenty of money to destroy the rounds quickly, even though we don't have that many upgrades unlocked yet. The plan is to win with money, not with upgrades. This brought us to round 63, which got pretty far, but there was no risk of leaking. Additionally, we unlocked the full auto rifle upgrade, which will help us pop any BFBs or reinforced mobs coming our way. This is also when we started to feel the extra money from the supply drops, so we picked up an overdrive and sharpshooter to speed us up. Next, it was time to get some village experience, one of the most important towers in the game, especially for Dreadbloon. We'll need jungle drums and monkey intelligence bureau at the bare minimum, so I got 2 of them down. While trying to get enough XP for jungle drums, our lone alchemist finally got enough experience to unlock Berserker Brew, which will take our supply drop snipers to the next level. This upgrade was enough to let us beat Karzandars quickly, so we started spamming Druids of Wrath with our leftover money, giving us the XP to unlock the Druid of the Jungle, a monkey that we'll be using to speedrun harder maps in a little bit. But this brought us to round 79, where we unlocked the Elite Sniper, our second tier 5 monkey that I really wanted before taking on Dreadbloon. And with him, we were able to pop the ZOMG in just a few seconds. Beating this map unlocked the Dartling Gunner as well as Cornfield, the advanced map that we'll be beating next. Once again, I started with Quincy and hit play, though this time I opted for an engineer to help him out. Now, I really wanted to get some bloon traps and ideally an overclock engineer for the boss battle, but I just don't think there will be that much XP to go around before we start the fight. So once we had enough money, I sold the engineer to get a 130 Druid of the Jungle. This was especially needed on this map because of how long it takes the bloons to get from the entrance to our monkeys, wasting precious time. Because of this, we need more global monkeys to pop the bloons at the very start. Enter the Heli Pilot. Perfect for Cornfield, we plopped him down and locked him at the start of the track. Because he costs so much and we're playing on an advanced map, he rapidly started leveling up, getting quad shots in pursuit in just 4 rounds, which is perfect as we'll need support Chinooks to farm during the boss battle. At this time, we saw our first golden balloon, which is pretty unfortunate as it'll distract our monkeys from time to time, but we should be okay. If they awarded more monkey money, we'd try to pop them as we need $3,000 to afford Benjamin, but they're just not worth the hassle and time at this point, so we'll just let them leak. The only thing slowing us down now were camo balloons. So we put down a ninja as he has built-in camo detection and will be needing sticky bomb for Dreadbloon. Next, we got a village so we could buff our helipad with jungle drums and eventually radar scanner once we unlock it. This brought us to round 40, where the mob got pretty far. So we got down a Berserker Brew Alchemist for extra popping power to prevent this in the future. Then, right as I got scared of camos on round 42, we unlocked Radar Scanner, rounding out our defenses perfectly. Now it was time to get Dartling XP. So we removed the corn on the left and placed a Dartling Gunner down bottom, aiming him at the entrance. This won't do much as he has no upgrades, but if we can get some XP on him, he can make the rounds much shorter. In the meantime, we'll get 2 Bouncing Bullet Snipers, buffed by a Berserker Brew to keep our time low. This worked great for grouped balloons, but we are still struggling against mob class balloons as they were making it all the way to Quincy. To handle this, we got down a 203 sniper set to strong. This was popping the blimps before they turned the corner, letting our bouncing bullets take care of the rest, speeding up the rounds by quite a bit. At this time, we also upgraded our ninjas to get more XP and buffed them with an alchemist. If it came down to it, nothing was getting past them. Then in the 60s, we unlocked 2 huge upgrades, Stronger Stimulant and the Monkey Intelligence Bureau, both of which will be crucial to future runs and popping Dreadbloon. So we upgraded our Sniper Alchemist to a 401, and then we unlocked the Elite Defender upgrade on round 71, our 3rd tier 5 upgrade of the day. Naturally, we saved up for this and coasted through the rest of the run, bringing our total to 3 hard modes beaten in just under 47 minutes. This gave us 600 monkey money, bringing our total to $2,030, about 66% of the way to Benjamin. Luckily, a Yashmanayu brought up the Keep Up with Biker Bones race quest that awards 500 monkey money once completed. This only took 2 minutes for us to do as we combined overdrives and cluster bombs, and it got us us that much closer to Benjamin. Next up was Dark Castle, the easiest expert map in the game. This will give us tons of experience on our monkeys, but I didn't want to risk losing, so I set the difficulty to medium. If we didn't have to optimize for getting certain monkeys XP, we could have beaten it on hard, but I didn't want to risk wasting time by accidentally dying. So we started with Quincy and saved up for a Buccaneer. Once down, I felt pretty good, especially since we already had the XP for Grape Shot. Next, we got down 2 subs, as we'll need some airburst darts to beat rounds 40 and 60, and then we got a ninja to work towards unlocking Sticky Bomb. We made this ninja a 302 to beat the early rounds, and this let us save all the way up for a merchant man on round 31. A greedy play, but as long as we don't die, we'll be able to use this extra money to beat the rounds quickly. Right after this purchase, we unlocked advanced intel and airburst darts on our submarines, leaving them with only 2 experience left over, which was crazy as no planning went into these runs at all. Now, I really wanted to upgrade these submarines, but getting XP on the Dartling Gunner took priority, so we put him down in one of the coolest spots in the game, the top of the castle, and had him fire straight down the path. At this point, we could start to feel the extra income from our merchantman, and we were able to get 2 airburst dart subs with advanced intel on round 37. Now to buff them with an alchemist and give them vision of the top path to pop the mob. I thought this would be plenty, but we ended up leaking a few balloons. Luckily, it wasn't enough to kill us, and this map is so short that not much time was wasted. Overall, not a big deal, but scary nonetheless. Because of this scare, we got triple guns and jungle drums on the subs just to make sure we could handle the rounds, and then we spent some more money on the Dartling Gunner, making it a 220. Now, we should be fine until round 50, so we bought another merchantman to make some money and unlock more of its bottom path. This is also when we unlock Sticky Bomb, so we no longer need to worry about getting XP on the ninjas. This means our next priority is the Mad and possibly the Flying Fortress, as never miss darts will be nice for speedrunning, and any tiers after that will provide solid boss damage. So we upgraded our Dartling Gunner to a Hydra rocket pods and placed down a Monkey Ace. It was here where I realized we never got the Avatar of Wrath upgrade, so we also got down a few Poplas to help out with the final 2 rounds of Dark Castle. This gave us just enough money to buy Benjamin, but there's no way that we have enough upgrades unlocked to take down the tier 5 boss. Now, we're already an hour in and running out of time, so I did the risky play of booting Dark Castle back up, but this time on hard. I started with the standard dart sub and hit play, getting a second sub the moment I could. This handled the early game just fine, letting us upgrade one of them to a 201 and then saving up for Quincy. Next, we got down a 130 Druid of the Jungle. This isn't the best map for him as there are 4 different entrances, but I wanted some global lead popping power as well as farming XP for the Avatar of Wrath. Then we did just about the same thing to round 40. I got 2 airburst subs buffed by Berserker Brew and Jungle Drums to take out the mob. This, combined with Quincy's rapid shot ability, was more than enough to take this thing down, and we could move on to getting more XP. We got a merchantman so we could afford to upgrade the subs as well as getting down a Dartling Gunner. Obviously, we put him on top of the wall and sent his darts straight down the path again. We then got a 203 and a 032 sniper down by the village and upgraded the alchemist to a 401 stronger stimulant. I thought this would be enough to take on round 63, but after using Quincy's abilities on the first 2 rushes, it was clear that we needed some more oomph for the third. Panicking, we sold a sniper and upgraded the Dartling Gunner to a rocket storm, but the ability did not come off cooldown in time, forcing us to exit to home and load back in to give round 63 another try. This wasted some time, but is well worth the tower experience we'll get from the next 17 rounds. For the first ceramic rush, we used Quincy's rapid shot, then we sold a sniper and merchantman to afford the rocket storm. While that ability was coming off cooldown, we used Storm of Arrows to take out the second rush, and then Rocket Storm handled the third. Additionally, we made enough money from popping the balloons to get our merchantmen back down, making us some extra money once again. This was a hectic round 63, and round 64 wasn't much easier. But that is the nature of speedruns like this, especially when you're winging it the entire time. But oddly enough, that was just about enough to beat Dark Castle. We got a couple more subs, another rocket storm, and some miscellaneous upgrades, but we just plowed through the rounds and unlocked the Avatar of Wrath in the process. Back at the home screen, I picked up a few monkey knowledge perks to give us an edge, but I didn't know what ones to get, so I wasted a little time and basically grabbed at random. I was hoping that Twitch chat would help me out for what ones to get, but they let me down like usual. At this point, we've already checked most of our needed upgrades off the list. We have Ben, the Tax Zone, Mib, Sticky Bomb, Avatar of Wrath, Stronger Stimulant, Elite Sniper, Elite Defender, and we are super close to the Trade Empire. Now all that's really left are the Mad, Super Brittle, PMFC, Total Transformation, and Overclock upgrades. If we get all of these, I think we could win very easily, but that'd be playing it safe and take way too much time. There is one upgrade that we need, however, and it's the Mad. I won't bore you with our final XP run, but there was one funny part. Nat surprised me with a Dairy Queen Blizzard, which I obviously had to eat right away. The only thing is that it had melted a bit on the drive home, so when I took off the lid, ice cream went everywhere. I desperately ate some while trying to play balloons, but my hands were covered in chocolatey goodness, so I couldn't do much. I ended up pausing so I could rinse my hands while Nat and Kramer entertained chat. After that, I got the blizzard under control and the run continued. We probably wasted a few minutes with the mess, but it was well worth it. Anyway, the rest of the run was pretty standard. Just know that we unlocked the mad, got tons of ace experience, and it only took us about 16 minutes to do so. Finally, an hour and a half in, we can take on Dreadbloon and attempt to pop all 5 of his tiers. We started with a submarine in the top middle and saved up for Benjamin. We really needed to start farming early as boss events are money intensive and we don't have the monkey knowledge that I'm used to when completing these challenges. So after Benjamin, we rushed a merchantman, selling the submarine in the process. The nice thing about merchantmen is that saving up for them is very easy, as they defend against the early rounds well with Grape Shot. On round 17, we were able to afford the Merchantman upgrade, making us more money each round, and we saved straight up for another, getting our second 013 Buccaneer on round 23. This timing was phenomenal as it let us get a lead to gold alchemist for round 26. If you didn't know, Dreadbloon turns zebra balloons into leads for the entire run, so lead to gold alchemist can make you absurd amounts of cash, especially in the early game. With this guy up front, we never had to worry about lead to golds getting popped some other way, and it will let us get a rubber to gold alchemist in a great spot in the future. Back to merchantmen farming, we filled the pools with 8 of them by round 38. Now we could get some portable lakes and speed this up, but we're doing a no powers or inst monkey speedrun, as I think that makes it a bit more fun. Now for our first encounter with Dreadbloon on this account. I purchased a 104 Sticky Bomb Ninja up front, and it destroyed the first 2 layers of Dreadbloon, but the rock bloons were giving us some trouble. They have tons of health and were immune to military monkeys, which were basically our only damage dealers at the time. So I got a 204 tack shooter to help deal with them, and once the ninja took Dreadbloon down to the second skull, the tack shooter took out this new ceramic layer to stop the spawning of the rock balloon. At this point, the ninja couldn't help as everything was immune to magic monkeys, but the sniper we picked up in the middle of the fight started to take over. It cleaned up any rock balloons left on screen and then worked on Dreadbloon, bringing him down pretty quick. We then moved the overdrive to a better spot and took out the first tier at the end of round 46. He took quite some time to pop, but we kept all of our merchantmen through the fight, which made us tons of money, enough to where we could unlock and afford a trade empire after selling a few things. From here, we made all of our boats flavored trades and started our sniper farming adventure. I got a 202 village and a 042 sniper to start us off. Unfortunately, this will steal some pops from our lead to gold alchemist, but the support crates are well worth it. At this point, it was round 57, so I got down a 205 elite defender. This guy is an absolute unit for single target damage and will help out a ton against the boss, especially once we buff it with an elite sniper. Round 60 started, and with it came the tier 2 boss. On top of the sniper, I also picked up a sticky bomb ninja to get us through the first skull. Then, once Dreadbloon was immune to military monkeys, we got a attack zone to plow through the ceramic layer, as these rocky balloons are even scarier than the last bunch. Man, would it have been nice to have a super brittle or glue storm for some extra damage, but we were a bit XP poor, so an AMD alchemist will have to do. This was just enough to get to the second skull and make Dreadbloon immune to magic monkeys, and this is where it got tricky. Round 63 started, and there were leftover rock balloons that were immune to military monkeys. So if the elite defender was on first or strong, its attacks would be wasted on these rocky boys, meaning we did not have a good way of hurting Dreadbloon, and on top of this, we had massive round 63 rushes heading our way. And because it was a speed run, I left fast forward on the whole time, not giving us much time to think about it. Luckily, we had 200 lives, so we opted not to buy new monkeys and instead leak the rock balloons that were military immune. This gave our elite defender crazy attack speed, which cleaned up the rushes and did great damage to Dreadbloon, eventually taking out the ceramic layer in round 64. At this point, we got enough money to purchase an elite sniper, adding even more DPS to our lineup, and we moved the tack zone down to where it could help out. This worked wonderfully, letting us pop the tier 2 boss, and everything down there was in range of the extra sellback that flavored trades bucks provide. Round 65 ended, and this was the rare exception to the speedrun where I turned auto start off, as we had a ton of money and needed to place our snipers down ASAP. We got as many supply drops as possible, all in range of a 204 Monkey City village. This week's boss event limited us to 15 snipers, so we had 13 supply drops, an elite sniper, and an elite defender down there by the mid 70s. After that, we buffed them with some stronger stimulant alchemists and got our first support Chinook, as that is what we'll be using to farm next. For the tier 3 boss, we got down an Avatar of Wrath buffed by Popwas, an alchemist, and a Mib. And a little farther down the track, we got a tack zone to do some damage once it's not immune to primary monkeys anymore. This shredded the first 2 skulls, but the Avatar of Wrath was most of our damage, and once Dreadbloon was immune to magic monkeys, our progress slowed significantly. To get around this, we sold all of the druids and used that money to purchase a mat, the last upgrade that I made sure to grind experience for. And the second we bought this, we started chunking through the skulls once again and took out the tier 3 boss just like that. Time to sell our damage dealers and get down 10 support Chinooks all in range of a monkey city. After we got these down, there wasn't much else to farm with, so we just prepared for the 4th tier. We got an Avatar of Wrath, Call to Arms, a Spectre, Mad, Tax Zone, and even a Permabrew Alchemist. Now, I really wanted to unlock the Ray of Doom, so I got down a Plasma Accelerator, but we knew this probably wasn't going to happen. And during this fight, I was using the support Chinooks to fly our Permabrew around the map, buffing every tower that we have, as this tier 5 fight will be a doozy. We didn't have any other farming options that we wanted to place down, so we could prep for the tier 5 encounter while auto-playing the rounds, saving us quite a bit of time. And how did we prepare? Overdrives. Lots and lots of overdrives. These were all buffed by the Permabrew, making them insane damage dealers, but man did it make me wish we had unlocked Super Brittle or Glue Storm. Additionally, we sold all the boats and replaced them with First Strike submarines, a great upgrade that we unlocked due to our Dark Castle adventures. Round 120 came, and with it, the final boss appearance. All this, and we were barely killing the boss. We did have $250,000 left over, but we didn't have any other tier 5 monkeys unlocked to spend it on, so we just prayed that the overdrive spam would be enough. It was looking alright, but Dreadbloon became military immune right as he entered the bottom right, which was the only place not loaded with overdrives, as there's a pool of water there. Our progress slowed immensely, but one idea changed this. We support Chinooked our Avatar of Wrath down bottom and purchased a few more Popless Druids to buff him. This took out the ceramic layer and finally stopped those rock bloons from spawning. Then we flew the Avatar back up to the middle as Dreadbloon was floating back into his normal range. It took a while, but we finally got through the military immunity with him almost 50% of the way through the track. Our nerves were high, especially as the natural bloon rounds were getting tougher and tougher, but magic and support monkeys were our least damaging types, so we had a chance. Once again, Dreadbloon was entering an area with only a few overdrives, but that rocky shield was still depleting rapidly, and because everything was permabrewed, we did not care about his lead layer. We got to the final skull and shredded through the ceramic armor as we did not care about support immunity. Dreadbloon turned into the thickest spot of overdrives in the entire map, and as he made his final turn, we purchased a primary mentoring village just to let Dreadbloon know that he was going down. We popped his 5th and final tier with a time of 2 hours, 5 minutes, and 54 seconds. Not bad for a fresh account and almost no planning. If you want to see my black border speedrun video, click the video on the left, and if you want to see Punji's Bloonaria speedrun, click the video on the right.